Rest in peace, Duck Commander. Phil Robertson passed on to the great big hunting blind in the sky. Did you know that, Vic?
I did not know that.
Talk about a girl that is out of the loop. It happened, I think, on Saturday or Sunday.
Oh, man. I am out of the loop, I admit. Most of the time, I'm not really on news and pop culture and social media stuff. I'm on social media, but I just check my messages once a day and then I'm done. I don't really
I guess
scroll.
if something happens to me, somebody got to find a way to let you know.
I wouldn't. How would I find out?
Yeah.
It would probably take me a while.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, man, I'll tell you what. I love that show, Duck Dynasty, and I loved that man, Phil Robertson. He was so down to earth, and he was not impressed by all of the Hollywood cameras and stuff, but he was a good sport, played along, and that family was all about the gospel. I don't know if you know any. Have you ever watched the show, Vic?
I think I saw little bits of it years and years ago, but I didn't know anybody's names or anything like that.
So the first time I saw this show, I was in a hotel in Chicago, and I was up there with Russ in LA. We were speaking at a conference, and one of the points in my talk was just about how garbage TV was. And for whatever reason, talk about hypocritical, I had the TV on as background noise in the hotel room.
Okay.
And there was this show, and I'm like, what is this show? This is hilarious. Is this for real? And I was sucked into this show called Duck Dynasty. And it's about these guys. It's most every single person here knows about the show. And it was a reality show. It was obviously scripted, but it was hilarious. Oh my gosh, with these hillbillies that are duck hunters and the predicaments they get themselves into. So our family watched it pretty faithfully here. And it was great that this family loved God and were Christian, and they were evangelists, for the gospel. And it didn't matter who you were, Phil Robertson would present the gospel to you. So powerful legacy. I actually watched a podcast today about him, and they were just telling stories about him, kind of behind the scenes stories, and they were hilarious. So anyway, is it wrong? I mean, I wonder about that time. We sometimes we say rest in peace.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I think it's just kind of like one of those things that we say, but it's if somebody's a believer in Christ, that's actually very accurate. But
yeah, there's a new phrase that I have seen people using in message boards, like the metalheads and stuff, like when a rock star dies. Mm-hmm. And it's not peace. Does anyone in the chat know what it is? It's rest in something. It's a different. I'm not going to be able to remember it because I haven't seen it that many times. But I've noticed that there are people that don't say RIP anymore. But I can't remember what the new cool witty thing to say is. But yeah, there is a new one. Huh. I was just looking it up as you were saying, and it's always a little unsettling for me when people who die are my dad's age or younger than my dad, and it's like, oh my goodness. So he was 79. Looks like he had an Alzheimer's diagnosis,
declining health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't realize he was getting to be that age. Man, time flies. But yeah, my dad just turned 79 this year, and it's always sort of like a slap in the face when I see people dying, or I talk to a friend who says my dad died. Oh, how old was he? 62. And I'm like, what? It's just so shocking. So,
man, the podcast I was listening to today, they were just telling stories about Phil. and he had just this wisdom, this like redneck wisdom, and people would go to him for advice on how to witness to people. I was listening to a story today, and somebody said, "Hey, I'm trying to talk to my dad about Jesus, and he's not listening to me." So Phil said, "Okay, so what you do?" And he said, "Go to him and ask him, knock on his door or whatever, and say, 'What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say about you at your funeral? What do you want me to say about you and Jesus?'" And that really touched his dad's heart, and he got him to thinking. He said, "Come in here and let's talk about it." And he witnessed to him.
Wow.
And he was able to present the gospel to his dad. So yeah, anyway, I just love the fact that this guy was just so unimpressed. That family became gazillionaires. I mean, I don't know the ridiculous amount of merchandising. Do you remember that era?
I do. I remember the whistles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean the duck calls?
The duck calls. Yeah. Whatever. Do I look like a duck hunter to you?
So, well, yeah, that was the main thing, but they put the picture of these guys everywhere. And I actually, at the time, I had a really cool looking, really long beard, but like beard worship like took off then, and I was like, dude, this is annoying. So I cut my beard off.
Oh gosh. I'm not a conformist.
Everybody was. I grew a beard because it wasn't cool, and then it became cool. So
yeah, and we know what happens to posers.
Yes, exactly. They die of people are wondering, what in the world are you guys talking about right now?
It's on the inside.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Vic, we just want to remind everybody, Freedom Encounters.
Yes.
At throughtheblack.com. You can go to our website and you can schedule your own Freedom Encounter. Speaking of trends and trendy, that's what everybody's doing right now. And yeah, you go to this website, click on that front page, and right there, we have a thing set up, and you can see what dates and what times are available. And you can set up your own appointment. Unfortunately, right now, we're only doing 4 appointments a day, but we are going to expand it, and we're going to add more days and more appointments, but we can't do that right now. Also on throughtheblack.com, a few other things. You can go and take the courses for free. Russ Dizdar courses. Everybody, well, this is one of the best places to take the course, okay? I mean, it's out there in other places. It's on YouTube and stuff, but here it's available in an organized way. You can click on it. Now, when I'm recommended the courses, I'm always recommended Confronting the Powers first. I feel like that's foundational. You go there, you can download the notes, then you can listen to these audios, okay? And I'm telling you what, they are game changers. So another thing on the website is our contact. I want to let everybody know that our address has changed, just in case you didn't know. And it is no longer a P.O. box, but is an actual address. It's 2200 Bedford Boulevard. If you're going to send us any mail. And you know what? Here's the thing, Vic. I don't know. You might get jealous at this, okay? I don't know if you will or not. But I got a package in the mail today. And you'll never guess what this package was. I would have never guessed what this package was. It was is it a fruit? I think it's a fruit. At least that's what Rob was saying.
Yeah.
It's a fruit. What? And it's green, and you make a dip out of it. So I gave you a few hints there.
Oh, avocados.
I got avocados in the mail, and Rob and I split them, and we had guacamole for dinner. I sent my wife a message. I said, hey, we got some avocados and they need used. Can we do Mexican tonight?
Oh,
we had Mexican, and that guacamole was amazing. So our amazing listeners, sent that to us. Like, I've gotten some
Wow.
things in the mail before, but I've never gotten avocados, and it was awesome. So
Yeah, maybe we should change that address again. I can
yeah.
give you a P.O. box here in Missouri.
Well, I don't think we should change it again.
No, you
It'd
don't
be
think so?
confusing. Yeah, it can be
Oh,
confusing.
man.
So yeah, guys, no, seriously though, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the financial support. And that's how you do it. There's a link there, whether you are supporting us through PayPal or you want to send us something in the mail. We appreciate it. And guys, thank you for the prayer support. We need the prayer support. The devil does not like what we're doing, and he wants to do anything he can to stop us. I have been feeling it this week, and he wants to stop me from showing up in that room. And you can feel the heaviness, you can feel like I'm there's nothing special about me, and I feel the blowback, I feel the warfare like anybody else. And sometimes you have a couple days where you're just like, I don't really feel like doing anything. You're just you don't feel very spiritual, you don't feel very Christian. Well, that's part of life. It's not about feelings, okay? It's about a relationship, and it's about, hey, this is what God's word says, despite how you feel. So, guys, we appreciate the prayers. Man, we had another great day of Freedom Encounters. And this month in June, this will be today's the last day that we do Freedom Encounters in June. We talked to 11 new people that we never talked to before, from everywhere, from where do we, from Florida to all over. Where else? Texas. Vic, international today, from another country, from a European country. We talked to somebody, and they were like, hey, will you pray with me? And we wanted to encourage that person. So, a lot of the people that we talk to are Christians who need encouragement. And they're Christians who love the Lord, but they're running into something that they haven't seen before, and they need guidance. And we have experience in guiding people through repentance, through prayer, through breaking curses and strongholds and pushing back the enemy. Vic, it's what I love to do. It's what I learned to do in my life. As I've said many times before, I used to be the devil's favorite punching bag, and then I learned to punch back. So if that's you, guys, you can schedule a Freedom Encounter. We would love to talk to you and pray with you. So, Vic, conference is coming up. Where are we going to be?
Yep. Go there for end of July. Is it? Yep. July 25 and 26 in Brookville, Ohio. Same bat church, same bat channel as we are always at there in Ohio. So you go to gotherefore.com, I believe it is, and you'll get all the speakers, the schedule. You can register, find hotel information, etc. A lot of our favorites are going to be there this year. Tom and I will be there. Kenny C. I believe Joe Horn. Not everyone that you're seeing on the screen is going to be there. I don't believe LA is going to be there this year. I believe Derek and Sharon will be. So yeah. Yes. Yep. So for an accurate schedule of speakers, go to the website. There you go. And hopefully see y'all in July. Yes. Can't say. Yep. Kenny, who are we missing? Oh, Heavener. Yep. And Carl. Yep. Casper, yes. I knew I was forgetting some good ones.
Pastor Casper.
I know.
Casper, we lost Duck Commander, but we also lost Rick Derringer. Do you know who that is?
That rings a bell. Remind me, is that a band?
Rick Derringer. No, he was a famous guitar player.
Okay.
And I think I learned today that he was in the band The McCoys, who played the song Hang On Sloopy.
Oh, hey.
And did you know that Hang On Sloopy is like the state song for Ohio?
I did not know that.
Yes.
I did not know that. But I do have my Hang On Sloopy sticker on my laptop.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. But also, Vic, you'll like this. Rick Derringer produced the first 4 or 5 Weird Al Yankovic albums.
No way.
Yes.
Wow. My Bologna.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty awesome.
anyway, and friend of Pastor Casper there, and I saw that Casper's going to be there, so it made me think of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll
in
be
peace,
good.
Rick Derringer, rest in Jesus.
Yeah, hey, I
Rick
like
is
that.
up there with Phil. So
Yep. Oh man.
and by the way, yeah, Rick was a Christian. He was a believer.
Okay, so he's up there playing guitar, and Phil is tooting on the duck whistle.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. We also got Hear the Watchman in August in Springfield, Missouri. That's my backyard. And I think registration is very affordable for that one. 93 days left to register. Wow. What a lineup. We got Derek Gilbert, Jamie Walden. I haven't seen him in a few years. I'm looking really forward to seeing
Jamie
him in
Walden's
Virginia.
gonna be there.
Yeah, Jamie will be there. Kenny, Joe Horn. Look at Kenny's picture. He's very jovial. He's very happy in that picture. Oh, Bagley, Nita Horn, and Nita's daughter and Joe's sister, Donna Howell. Kevin Ship, Dave Hodges. Oh, I think I was on one of his podcasts once. That name rings a bell.
I recognize that name. Yeah.
Yeah. Sharon Gilbert, Randy Conway. He is a friend and neighbor here. I just spent a bunch of us had a fellowship camping weekend this last weekend, and Randy was there, so I got to hang with Randy. Randy and I actually got to jam on our guitars and lead some worship at that thing. That was pretty fun.
Cool.
Heidi Bagley, moi. Yours truly, and Tracy Tennant. She's got an amazing testimony of coming out of Mormonism. So if you are going to be in the Springfield, Missouri area in mid-August, or actually, no, it's more towards the end, the 22nd through the 24th, then come and join Mike and Jeannie Kerr and the gang in Springfield for the Hear the Watchman conference. And I'm just going to throw this on the tail end here, not really a conference, but as it's been kind of loosely announced here, that I am going to be taking the month of June off from Freedom Encounters and
I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, I hope you remember that. But I think Tom is going to have some guests on, and I think Jared will be on. He's my remember on Seinfeld when he would Newman. I'd be like, Jared.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that thumbnail because that's coming up very soon.
Yeah.
And, I have some special guests on coming up. Some old friends that you guys know. I asked Pastor Sean to come on.
Cool.
So, yeah. And,
that'll be awesome. And if people could be thinking during the month of June to be praying for me, I am taking the month off from podcasts, etc., because I am hoping to finish up another book. I'm about halfway through, and I just want to plow through it and get it done. So just pray for perseverance, productivity, self-discipline, and health, because a lot of times when I take time off, that's when the enemy likes to give me a cold or a flu, and then I'm down for the count. So just pray for the protection of that writing leave, and just that whatever the Lord wants written in that book, that information and that research would get into the book. And I would love by June 30th to get that off to the editor. That is the goal.
Prayers for Vicki. Hey, the chat is talking about hang on Sloopy and avocados. So I don't know what the
see what you've done.
Yeah. Does the rest of the country not have avocados? We have plenty here in California. Well, keep sending them out because they don't grow here, I don't think, in Ohio as well. You're supposed to have a tropical temperature or something. I don't know. Yeah,
you can plant a little tree in your house, and if you're lucky, 3 years later, you'll get one of them.
Really? Okay, well,
something like that.
It'd be easier if people just kept sending them to me.
It would be, yeah.
So, Vic, lots to talk about tonight on the. I always refer back to the thumbnail. Okay, I'm trying to pay that thumbnail off. And sometimes we never get to the thumbnail until the last 5 minutes. We're like, oh shoot.
I know.
We never talked about what we said we would, and yeah, we
We
don't do
should
it on purpose, folks.
we should not be in charge.
No,
It's a travesty that we're in charge of this thing.
it is. It is really. So
Hmm.
let's just give it our best shot anyway, Vic.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Well, let me ask you this: have you seen the thumbnail?
I knew you were going to ask me that. As a joke, I was going to say, so what is the thumbnail? And I'm like, he's going to ask me. No, I haven't seen the thumbnail.
So, okay, well, I made the thumbnail. I think it's something like Innocence Lost or Innocence Stolen or something.
Okay.
Oh, Innocence Stolen.
Okay.
So, this was kind of your idea.
Yeah.
And,
It was a great idea.
Yeah, it is. No, I like ideas. It saves me from thinking of them. I can use my brain for other things.
I've had a few good ideas.
You have quite a few good ideas.
I've had a couple. I'm looking at the. Oh, here we go. I have seen the thumbnail.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Good
Nothing
job.
special. Yeah, nothing special. But
Oh, good job. You
Thank
did
you.
good.
Thank you. What did you see the thumbnail from a few weeks ago?
No.
Demonic sexual grooming. Remember that? We
Maybe.
did that show?
Maybe. I remember the show.
Okay. Well, even if you haven't seen the thumbnail is pretty intense. Like, see if you can look it up there. I want to see your reaction in live time.
Oh no. Oh no. Let's
Like,
see.
Through the Black is the name of the YouTube channel if you're looking for
Yeah.
it.
Oh, okay. No wonder. Strain MMS is a throne of grace. Okay. This is riveting television right now.
Yeah. It might be one of the more recent ones, since it was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Sorry. This shows how often I'm online. I was under videos instead of live.
Okay.
Demonic sexual grooming. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that looks like what's her face? Maleficent or whatever. Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. I'm surprised that we didn't get.
Since you're looking at it, what are our views on that? I'm curious.
647.
Okay. Well, hey, that thumbnail paid off then, because people are clicking.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Oh my goodness. All right.
In some ways, this could be a follow-up to that show.
Yeah.
Because it's about the targeting of children when we think of grooming. And yeah, isn't it? I was going to say, isn't it insane? But it's not really insane. It makes sense that the devil would target children. That wicked people would target children.
Yeah.
We see this in every culture, and we see it just repeating itself all throughout history, where children are targeted, children are abused, children are targeted for some horrific things. I mean, if we think of what's happened in the last few years, the mutilation of children, the mind control of children, the deliberate confusing of children. And then, Vicki, the targeting of children through entertainment, through children's entertainment, through music, and on and on and on and on. So anyway.
Yeah. So I had not heard of this. And a friend of mine who has a lot of grandchildren was sending me, it was like a video or an audio text. And a lot of times when you hear a word for the first time, you're like, what? And so I said, what'd you just say? And she said, Roblox. And I said, what's that? It's roadblock. What do you know? She's like, Roblox. And so I'm going to just read a description in case people don't know what this is. Roblox, and that's ROBLOX. Roblox is an online game platform and game creation system developed by Roblox Corp that allows users to program and play games created by themselves or other users. And so it's a social media platform, Tom, so people can also get on there and chat and make friends and all that. It is a virtual community, but the platform is gaming based, but you kind of develop your own games and then people come on and play them and then you can chat with each other. And so similar to Tumblr and TikTok and all these other things, there is a lot of grooming and things going on. And one of the things that I read today, Tom, is 3/5 of Roblox users are 13 years and younger. And obviously, if you are aware of this and you're aware that your kids have this downloaded, there are parental controls where you can go in and you can block off adult content and things, because there is adult gaming on there too. So you can only imagine how perverse that probably gets, and your child can easily get into those areas if you don't have the parental controls on. So it's kind of scary, Tom, because the platform really appeals to younger people because 3/5 of the demographic are 13 years and younger. So of course there is all of the usual stories of grooming and SA and kidnapping and P words that rhyme with corn on the cob and things like that. So I do have some articles we can read about that. But it's just, I think it's really important, they're creating these social media platforms faster than I can keep up with them at this point, Tom. I mean, every time I go on to a website now, the little colorful icons, it used to just be the little blue F and, the TikTok music note. And there are so many things now. I've been on sites where there's just like a whole paragraph of these little icons that can take you to these different social media platforms. And I'm probably way too far behind to catch up at this point, but this Roblox one is very, very popular amongst the 13 and younger generation. And of course, where there are children, these people like to flock, right?
So yeah, I want to continue talking about this, but just throw in there that these predators are masters at manipulating children, at being where children are. If you are a wolf, where are you going to go? You're going to go where the sheep are. Okay, you're going to go where the prey is.
Yeah.
And it's a crime, I think, that parents are so far behind.
Yeah.
And they're assuming that they're safe on their device, and they're not. The predators are looking for any way to access your kids, and they want to sexualize them. They want to trick them into walking out the front door, and they are planning on picking them up. That's just one example of something that they want to do. But we're talking about predators that want to abuse children. Okay. And they're trying to get access to them. They can't, for the most part, can't walk into your house and get your kid. They need to trick them into coming out, and they're masters at it. They're good at it. Now, there are a lot of groups out there that do stings on these predators, and they will pose as children playing online. And I forget, I learned about this a couple weeks, but I forget how quickly that somebody will jump online, and then they'll have 12 people, like almost instantly, send a message to this adult who's posing as a child and trying to get access. And some of that could be AI, but a lot of times they find that there are real people behind these messages, because they set a trap for them, so to speak, and they pose as a child, talk as a child, and then they set a meetup, and then there's a bust, there's a sting or something. So anyway, go ahead, Vic.
Yeah. I'm just going to read a couple of just the headlines. We can dive deeper into them if you want, but I really want to get to the story, Tom, about the 764. We talked a little bit about that at the offline, but so here's some of the articles that I'm just reading straight off of a Google search. The dark side of Roblox: active shooter studios create maps based on real life mass shootings. There's another one. Ocala Teen, which I think is like the name of a town. My thing is thinking here. Ocala teen arrested used Roblox to communicate with and sexually exploit children. California man accused of, sorry, my iPad is loading strangely here. California man accused of kidnapping 10-year-old he met on Roblox. And then here's another one. I'll just stop at this one. This one is man arrested after luring child through Roblox and SAing them. It goes on to say a 27-year-old man is in custody after authorities claimed he kidnapped and SA'd a child whom he met on the popular video game Roblox. And again, a lot of these kids, I'm just trying to see, it was a 10-year-old, Tom, a 10-year-old. And I don't know about you, Tom, times are a-changing, but I wasn't allowed to leave my house at 10 years old if my parents didn't know where I was going and I had their permission.
Yeah.
And this was long before cell phones, and so they just trusted you were going where you said you were going. But I didn't have the freedom to roam the neighborhood and go wherever I wanted and meet up with people when I was 10 years old. It's just scary. But yeah, so that's Roblox, and we can talk about that more if you want. I know.
Just that we as parents have to be diligent, and I don't have young kids anymore, but I have grandkids now, and they're not old enough to do these things. Fortunately, their parents are very cautious about, even as a very young child, allowing them to have access to a phone. But it's interesting. It's almost like a modern instinct, Vic. Something about the phone draws people in. You know what I'm saying? And draws little children in. And my grandchild does not have a lot of screen time, but gets a little bit. And they don't like it when it's taken away. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just interesting. It's almost like a modern instinct to want to have this device. And we see kids, oh my goodness, when you go out in public and they're glued to their devices. I spend a lot of time on my phone, but I just feel like there's no hope for this generation coming up. I do see parents, there's like a new movement of young parents are like, you know what? Yeah, I'm shutting this down. I'm not going to have this around my kids. And people are, I know several parents that are doing this anyway.
Yeah. I'm a hypocrite because I'm sort of, my phone is, I'm sort of glued to it, and it's a constant irritation to my dad. But it's sort of a generational thing too, though, because I know if you just are talking screen time, I think my dad logs as much screen time a day as I do, but because he's at a desk in front of a computer, it's not as annoying, as this kind of a thing. And my dad's phone is just a phone, and he doesn't have any internet on it or anything. All it is a phone. He doesn't get his emails on his phone or anything. And so it's this constant trying to explain to him, like, my whole world is on this phone. My banking is on the phone. My social media, my calendar is on the phone. My to-do list is on the phone. But I can make all the excuses in the world. The fact of the matter is, I've got it all the time, and you put it down, and then, you're constantly picking it back up. And I try to do things, like, I keep the notifications and the volume off. So I'm not like, I don't have this like Pavlovian dog response every time I hear it beep or I got to grab it, and I will pretty much check all of my social media notifications at the end of the day. Like whenever my last podcast or my last like work thing of the day is after dinner, I will check my social media notifications and respond to people. Like today, I haven't looked at it yet. I try to do that so that I'm not constantly, satiating that addiction, but it's rough, I turned my phone off for 4 days in December, Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then the 2 days following. And it was so amazing. It was so wonderful, but I paid for it when I turned it back on and had to catch up even with only 2 days. Cause a lot of people, weren't too active on Christmas and Christmas Eve, but it's just one of those things where we've set this precedent now where if you don't get back to somebody within 3 minutes, let's say if it's a text message, or you don't get back to someone within 24 hours, if it's an email, they're panicked, or they think, are you mad at me? Or don't you like me anymore? Or did you get my email? And we've set this precedent that you can get a hold of me 24 hours a day and I need to be on call for you. It used to be back in the 80s. I remember like an episode of Oprah or something where the whole gist of the show were women who were married to doctors who had pagers, and how it was this constant disruption to their life and their family life, because anytime that they were trying to do anything with a family, or, it was dinner time, or they wanted to be intimate, this stupid beeper was going off. And they were talking about how this beeper was like ruining the continuity of their family. There's no such thing as like work time and family time, like the work family dynamic, the ratio was off. And we've now all done this to ourselves. None of us are doctors, but we're carrying these stupid beepers around with us everywhere, and they're taking precedent over the reality of what's right in front of us. So, we're at a restaurant with our family having dinner, and whatever stupid thing is beeping that's not important takes precedent over reality. And I don't know, man. It's got to be killing our brain cells at the very least.
Well, yeah, there's a lot wrong with these phones. And just the fact that there's radiation coming off of these things, I feel it. And if I have a heavy day of phone use where I'm taking a lot of calls, I'm just using it for whatever, I feel it. I feel a numbness in my hand. Do you ever feel that?
That's a good question. I don't know that I've noticed that, but now that you've mentioned it, it'll probably, now I'm going to watch out for it.
Yeah. So I quit wearing a watch like a year and a half ago, just about, because I was feeling a numbness in my wrist. I was wearing an Apple Watch.
Oh.
And I felt it right in my wrist, and then I feel it in my hand. So I always try to do the hands free. I never hold it up to my head.
Yep, me neither.
Not very often will I do that.
Yeah.
So just the fact that the phone itself is dangerous, it has radiation coming off of it, is one thing. But then obviously, and this is not what we meant this show to be about, the phone is a great tool. You just described it. You have all your dates in there. I use it for a lot of things. Okay. To check my email, we have our app on there so we can see the appointments, things like this. To call, you check the weather, you check, you book things with it. You just everything you store on there. It's so handy. I mean, these apps that you can get are so cool. I don't know how many email apps, and I had to get another one the other day so I could communicate with somebody that used a different thing than I did, because it was the only way to communicate with this person that I needed to communicate with.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a great tool, but it's a double-edged sword. I like what's said here, what Lynette said. It creates chemical reactions in the brain, especially in children, that is almost the same as drug effects. Yeah. Dopamine. It's constantly ringing this bell. And with the new shorts that they have on YouTube or the TikTok videos, you can spend hours scrolling. And people like us, I'm guilty of what do they call it? Doom scrolling. Like, give me more bad news. Give me more bad news. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's almost like you're not happy unless you're miserable. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, speaking of some doom scrolling, that's a good transition. I do want to read this article, and I know that in our Discord, Katie had a video version of this too, and I don't know if she's prepared to show that, but I am going to read the article. I had never heard of this, Tom, until I started researching it. It's an online network called 764. And just so that people can kind of put that in context, like what in the world does that mean? It's not numerology. It's nothing like occult. 764 is the first three numbers of the Texas zip code where the first teenager who was affected by this was living. So they call it 764. So yes, this is what I'm going to be reading. FBI has opened 250 investigations tied to violent online network 764 that preys on teens, top official says. This is scary stuff, Tom.
okay.
All right. FBI officials say they are growing increasingly concerned about a loose network of violent predators who befriend teenagers through popular online platforms and then coerce them into escalating sexual and violent behavior, pushing victims to create graphic pornography, harm family pets, cut themselves with sharp objects, or even die by suicide. The video that Katie had posted in the Discord for us, the example that they were reporting on was a teen who called a local school. It might have even been in Ohio, Tom, and called in a bomb threat and said, if you don't do something, I'll go in there with the gun instead and shoot everybody up. Well, it was a hoax call. And this teen was put up to it by someone on this 764 online platform. And what happens is once they get to the point where they don't want to play anymore because it gets too frightening, then the threats and the manipulation come in. But, they start out as friends. They groom them into this. So continuing the article here, the online predators, part of the network known as 764, demand victims send them photos and videos of it all so the shocking content can be shared with fellow 764 followers or used to extort victims for more. And these are kids, guys. These are kids that they are targeting. Some of the predators even host watch parties for others to watch them torment victims live online, according to authorities. We see a lot of bad things, but this is one of the most disturbing things we're seeing, said FBI Assistant Director David Scott, the head of the FBI's Counterterrorism Division, which is now leading many of the U.S. government's investigations tied to 764. The FBI has more than 250 such investigations currently underway, with every single one of its 55 field offices across the country handling a 764-related case, Scott told the ABC News in an exclusive interview. He said the FBI has seen some victims as young as 9, and federal authorities have indicated there could be thousands of victims around the world. Nihilistic, violent extremists. It's very scary and frightening. The Connecticut mother of a teen girl caught up in a 764 told ABC News, it was very difficult to process because we didn't raise her to engage in that kind of activity, said the mother, speaking on the condition that ABC News not name her or her daughter. Last year, in classic New England town of Vernon, Connecticut, local police arrested the girl, a former honor roll student, for conspiring with a 764 devotee overseas. This is the one I was talking about, Tom, to direct bomb threats to her own community. When police searched her devices, they found pornographic photos of her, photos depicting self-mutilation, and photos of her paying homage to 764. As Scott described it, one of the main goals of 764 and similar networks is to sow chaos and bring down society. That's why the FBI's Counterterrorism Division and the Justice Department's National Security Division are now looking at 764 and its offshoots as a potential form of domestic terrorism, even coming to a new term to characterize the most heinous actors, nihilistic, violent extremists. There's more here, Tom, and I can read more, but do you want to interject here? Do you have any thoughts?
I think I screwed up the thumbnail.
Still thinking about that thumbnail.
Yeah. Vic, remember the Tide Pod thing?
Vaguely, but remind me.
Well, kids were eating Tide Pods.
They were
It was a
eating them.
trend that was started online. I don't know if it was on TikTok or whatever, but I mean, as dumb as that was, at least people weren't doing this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So this is along the same lines. I watched this story last week, and I want to continue talking about the 764 thing, but this was shocking. And here we are. This is revealing at the same time. I was scrolling through, and there's this channel I like that puts out these like less than 5-minute videos, and it's from beginning to end, the whole story, right? And a lot of times it's about a crime. Most of the time it's about some kind of a crime or some kind of a weird thing that happens. And I don't want to, I'm not going to promote this guy's channel. He does a good job. He uses a bunch of AI images to tell the story, and he's a good storyteller. But the story was about this kid who was watching adult content, and he fell in love with this one person that was a cam girl. Did I talk about this last week?
No, but what was it? Anime?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No, but
okay.
So he fell in love with a real person who was a cam girl.
Okay.
And he began spending tens of thousands of dollars on this girl, and he thought that she was his girlfriend because maybe she said as much. So, and then he started stealing his parents' credit cards, racked up tens of thousands of dollars. And then they'd had enough, and they said, you got to go to rehab. So he went to rehab for addiction to spending money on this girl. And then he walked out of rehab, and then as soon as he got out, he started doing it again. And then he basically murdered his parents and his brother because they were trying to come in between him and this girl. And he's in prison for life now. So, but obviously, not every person that does that is going to do something like that. There was something else wrong with this person. But it's just insane how far it can go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's lots of examples of things like this. I feel like this is such a silly thing to say, but Vic, it's a crazy world that we live in, and we need Jesus, right?
Oh gosh. Yeah. You know, I've said this a lot lately. And I'm usually saying it within the context of AI and virtual reality and all these things that they're now offering kids, like reality shifting. But it applies to this as well. When it says in scripture that the peace of God is the result of thinking about things that are true, pure, lovely, excellent, admirable, praiseworthy, that one of the things that we're supposed to think on is things that are true. And that doesn't just mean biblical truth versus lies, or, you know, information versus disinformation. It can also, I think, be applied in our generation to these elaborate fantasy worlds that we create online. You can pick a username, you can be whatever age, you can use whatever picture you want, you can go into these games, or you can reality shift, and you can create this fantasy world that in many cases is more preferable, obviously, to your real world. And you become so vulnerable as soon as you start losing your grip on reality. And I just think that this trend, whether it's AI or gaming, whether it's social media, whether it is changing your name and your identity for other reasons, read between the lines, that we lose ourselves in this character we're creating. And I think that as soon as we sort of make that break with reality and we choose the fantasy or we choose the delusion, we are so vulnerable to these predators on online because we're no longer operating with reality in mind. I hope that's making sense, but I'm just seeing that
it does make sense. And again, this goes back to something we've talked about a lot of times, and it's emotional attachment.
Yeah.
People become emotionally involved, just like people do when it comes to a sports team. They become emotionally involved, and that's actually pretty safe in comparison to what we're talking about here. But they might, people might go to the extent of where they might get in a fight over a sports team. That's not unheard of, especially when you put alcohol in the mix.
Yeah.
So think about virtual reality headsets, and then think about the addictiveness of adult content, and then combine those two. Think about the addictiveness of virtual reality, and I've used those headsets like one or two times to try them out, and it was kind of neat. In one of the scenarios, you're in a room and it's supposed to be a scary room, and you look this way and you look that way, and it's like you're in the room, and you forget you've got the headset on. And then in another one, it has you can, if you're standing up, it looks like in this virtual reality that you're up on top of a skyscraper and you're walking across a beam. And then some people will put like a plank down, right? And it's fun to videotape the people that think that they're in this virtual reality and they're going to fall.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, it's very believable.
Yeah.
But it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And I think we have to be very diligent with our, at my age, it's my grandkids, warning about this stuff, because this stuff is deadly in the way that it's addictive because of how connected we can become to it. Where, I mean, Vic, it's bad enough that people don't believe anything unless they see it on TV. You and I can tell them the truth, and you've heard this, right? Who said this? I forget. It's a famous quote by somebody. Oh man, I used it recently in one of my talks. But people don't believe anything unless they see it on TV. It might have been some president like Nixon or something like that. But it's true.
Yeah.
Like you and I, we could talk to somebody face to face, and we could tell them, "Well, did you know that Oswald didn't really kill Kennedy?" But if they saw me say it on TV, they would believe it. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember years ago listening to a sermon, and I think it was either Tim Keller or CJ Mahaney. It was one of the guys out on the East Coast, and he had a really big church, and he quoted something from Bono of U2, right? And then he like, it was a bait and switch. He said, it's the same thing in scripture. And he read a Bible verse that was almost verbatim the same point that Bono was making. And he's like, he pointed out, because of the way that the young audience reacted, they were receptive to what Bono said, but they were curmudgeons when it came to the scripture. And he goes, see, if Jesus Christ said it, it's not cool. But if Bono said it, then you'll clap, because they clapped at the Bono one. And I just remember thinking, oh man, that is so, and I mean, this was probably close to 20 years ago, but it's true. It's like, if a celebrity says it, it's worth its weight in gold. I do think that's kind of changing though, Tom. I do think that this age of celebrity worship is sort of dwindling down. Maybe that's just in my world and the people I hang around with, but even just what I do see online, I do see that I don't think celebrities have as much sway anymore as they once did.
I don't think so, Vic. A good example, I think, of that is all the celebrities they tried to get in to endorse the losing presidential candidate last time.
Yeah.
And it didn't really move. And I mean, these celebrities were basically they were selling themselves out, and they were getting paid big money to endorse this candidate, and it did absolutely no good for them. So anyway,
No. Yeah, I kind of think we started seeing this, and I don't know if it was around 2020 or not, but around the season where Ricky Gervais was hosting the Golden Globes,
yeah,
and he was roasting these celebrities. Now, I don't think for 1 minute that Ricky Gervais is not one of them. I think he is just really, really good at understanding what the public wants and writing really good jokes. I don't necessarily think that he really believed any of the things that he was saying. He's just an entertainer. But the fact is, it was so popular when Hollywood sort of realized that the public wanted to mock and deride them. And so I do think some things changed, in the last 5-6 years, hopefully. And I don't know, I'm not around kids enough to know, Tom, but what I'm sort of seeing in the few Gen Z and Alpha generation that I do know and hang around with, unlike our generation when it was movie stars and rock stars, for them, I'm seeing a lot more where they're talking a lot more about anime characters and gaming characters more so than real people, which is playing into the point of this fantasy being more real to them than reality, because even the people that they're choosing to admire aren't even real flesh and blood people anymore. They're cartoon characters.
mm-hmm. This is a little bit of a rabbit hole from where we're at now, but I think we might be able to find a way to make it relevant. When did this happen, Vic? When did the bad guys become the heroes?
Yeah. I very specifically remember a point in time, and I don't know if it was early 90s, mid 90s. I remember our family had rented a movie, and it was very unsatisfying at the end. And I remember either my mom or dad, but I think it was my mom, said that movie didn't give you anyone to root for, because even the good guys were so immoral and disgusting that I think the first time I noticed it, Tom, and I'm not saying I didn't like the movie, but it was around the time of Ocean's 11 and the other movie about the gold heist with all of like the little Mini Coopers, which had like
oh yeah,
it was a good movie, but it's like the people that you are rooting for are thieves. They're criminals. So it's like, which criminal are you voting for? And I remember at that time thinking, I'm rooting for someone to like rob a bank. Like, what am I doing?
They subvert your allegiance.
Yeah.
There by the way, I don't know if you ride roller coasters, Vic, but
Oh yeah.
there is a little stunt coaster down in Cincinnati at Kings Island that's based on that movie that you just talked about.
Oh.
Yeah, but they changed the name of it because it used to be named after the movie.
Okay.
Then somebody else bought the park, and they had to change the name of the movie or of the coaster. But it's really fun. Yeah, and it goes really fast. So anyway, sorry, that was a regular Through the Black Rabbit Trail.
Exactly. And now it's driving me crazy. I got to know it. Well,
What is it?
The Italian Job.
The Italian Job.
Yeah.
And was Mark Wahlberg in that? Or
yes.
No. I know who was in it.
He wasn't he?
Was he?
And Charlize Theron was in it.
Charlize Theron, I know she was in it. I don't know.
Look at us. This is
Dude,
terrible.
people they're like, oh my gosh, these guys.
Yeah, it was Wahlberg.
It was okay,
Yep.
but was
Ed Norton.
Ed Norton? Yes,
Yeah.
Ed Norton was in it. Okay,
Yes.
how did you look that up so quick without knowing the name of it?
I put in Mini Cooper Gold Heist movie.
Okay, good keywords.
Oh my
Mini
goodness.
Cooper Gold Heist movie. Very good.
There you go. That's what I would have named it.
Dude.
This is why Tom never asked me to come up with show names for the show. How about Mini Cooper Gold Heist? Maybe not.
Oh my gosh.
And then Tom would go, no, why don't we call it the Italian Job? And I'd be like, what does that mean?
Well, folks, we just let you see behind the scenes of how we do our show here.
Oh gosh.
Actually, Vicki is the writer. She's the one that comes up with the clever stuff.
No. I can't come up with titles though. I didn't even come up with the title of my own book.
Oh yeah, I heard that. So
I'm terrible at that. Yeah. That's a gift.
Okay. Well, can we save this thing here?
I don't know. We're going down in flames.
Yeah, we are. Vic, you're going to be gone for a while.
I am. I'm going to miss you guys.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody to pray for Vic again. She's going to be back in July, but she needs to take some time to focus. So, Vic, listen, we're buddies, but I'm not going to call you, okay?
Well, but going back to the beginning of the show, if you do die, I'd like you to let me know.
Okay. All right, I will. I'll make sure somebody gets a hold of you.
Okay.
Or if I can't do it, then
put me on the call list.
I will. So or somebody here will just get word out somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might be hard. So we'll do a skywriting or something.
Yeah. Oh man. Died. That's right. Just don't haunt me.
Yeah.
Don't be one of those guys that, comes and scares the crap out of me in the middle of the night.
It's a gold heist. I'll come back in a ghost Mini Cooper.
I have the gold.
Nope, we can't save it. Nope.
It's too late.
It's too late, folks. It's too late to save the show, and it's too late at night.
Oh gosh.
For me. You know what I did this morning is so I there's this thing I do. I like to carry my wife's bags out to her car in the morning so she doesn't have to carry them.
Oh, that's nice.
There. So I take them out and I put them in the back seat of her car, and then when she gets to work, she takes them from there. But her and my son swapped places from where they usually park. And they have the same color car. So this morning,
oh no,
I took the bags out, and I was like, a lot of times I wake up 15 minutes before she leaves for work, and that's just kind of our schedule,
In a stupor.
Yeah, and I take the bags out and I put them in the back seat of my son's car.
Oh no!
She gets to work and she was like, "What did you do with my bags?"
Oh.
And I was like, "What is going on?" She's like, "Did you put them in the other car?" And I was like, "Oh no."
Oh no.
So yeah. So anyway, I was going by her work and I was able to drop them off. But
oh, good. I'm glad Gavin didn't have to carry her purse around with him all day.
No, he never. Well, and I told him, quit parking in your mom's spot.
Yeah, right. Quit confusing your old man.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, guys, don't forget. Maybe you don't need a freedom encounter, but maybe you know somebody who does. And again, word is getting out about the freedom encounters. People are very thankful that they have somebody that will pray for them and pray with them. And we keep hearing that. Thank you so much for praying with us. We don't know who to go to. You know what? What we think is you came to the right place. There's nothing that Jesus can't solve. There's nothing that can't be fixed with when you apply the blood of Christ to it. We believe Jesus Christ is the answer. We believe he's the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through him. We believe he's the resurrection and the life, and he who believes in him shall live. So if you're dealing with a stronghold, if you're dealing with hurt, God can heal it. We absolutely believe it. We stand on that. And Psalm 34. If you don't read anything else, read that. I sought the Lord and he answered me. Vic, it says, those who look to him are radiant and their faces are never covered with shame. Isn't that amazing news? I love that. I love that I can tell people that and it's true. And people need to hear that. Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and he saves those who are crushed in spirit. So anyway, guys, again, the website is throughtheblack.com, and we are going to be back. Vicki's not going to be back. She's taking some time off, but we're going to be back, and we're going to just try to make it without her. We're going to think about her. We might do a little bit of crying, but we will somehow make it. Guys, join me next week. Very special guest. Host coming back from the past. Check out the thumbnail. As soon as whenever Katie wants to put it up is when you can start sharing it. And we're gonna do it, guys. God bless you. Vicki, have a great month and a productive month. Last word for you.
Oh man, I'll miss everybody. Thanks for everybody who joined tonight. And be in prayer. Keep your eyes wide open. We have to be parents, guardians, and grandparents who we have to actively be pursuing the protection of our children. We have to become faithful intercessor prayers for our family. So just keep in mind your kids this week and keep your ears perked for Roblox and Tumblr and 764, whatever it was. And when you hear these things, you now have the information. You know what that is. You can ask the questions and you can get into some hopefully meaningful conversations with your kids about what they're doing online.
Amen. And good night. Maybe.